Well, Bob here, Odin's Lock. Today, I mess around with this machine. I've never been able to get it to work right. I'll show you part of the problem here. Try to move the camera around. It moves around too much. See that? The whole bed sloppy. And I don't know. I'm gonna see if I can adjust the gibs on it. If it has gibs, I think that's what these are. The adjustment screws. That's probably a lock. The slide, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull this whole machine off, and we're gonna go through this. So here's a little bit of the story on this. This is a 998C. Excuse me for bumping the camera. This it works. It's a. I've only been able to cut a handful of keys, and that's hit or miss. You know, if they work or not. My issue is, like I said, it's sloppy. It moves around way too much. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if I can. It moves around more than I do anyways. So here, see that? Just too much slop in this. And I know there is some, yeah, you can kind of see I'm holding that handle steady. Anyways, it moves. So I gotta undo the mount. I was gonna sell this machine. I think I bought it pretty cheap, like 130 bucks maybe. Let me move this camera around. Grab a Phillips here. I bought it pretty cheap, and the issue I have is I bought it where, well, let me see if I can do this. I should have brought my drill driver. So you can buy these on AliExpress, aliabra, I don't know how you pronounce it, but I'll see if I can put a link up there somewhere on here. And so you kind of, there's two different versions of this one. There's, I think, the 339 and then the 998. I'll have to double check what the other one was, but the other one doesn't have the adjustable. This has an adjustable head, which is kind of neat. So you can kind of micro adjust. So let me move this over here. I left my inverter on, so unfortunately I don't have regular lighting out here right now. So you just have to bear with me. I'll see if I can get a better shot. And so I can get my key machine out of here. I need to kind of take this off anyway, so let me see if I can get a shot where I can good view of what's going on here. Kind of see if I can get the light on this side better. So XCan is the brand that this one is. Move that flash. XCan, and it's ESP makes their, well, they don't make it. ESP doesn't. They take a machine like this and then they slap their name on it. And this has extras, you know. Let me move the camera around. Try not to move it around too much. I have extra jaws that clamp on here so that you can clamp stuff down. And this has all the bits. And this comes standard. Everything here comes standard on it. You can buy the belts, all those extras. It's a pretty common machine, you know, as far as the cheapies go. The paint is mostly wore off from, I had a magnet on there. But this works. It's not a high revving machine, but it's, you know, it works for what it's supposed to do. It comes on. I'm not going to say it works because I've not had hardly any good keys. Supposedly you can cut a tubular key on this, where you can see right there the cutouts. But anyways, I can't do much with it because it's too sloppy. And I mean sloppy. And my background is machining and machine tool technologies is my thing. I'm gonna put something down here so I can lay it on its back. See if I got a piece of wood or a block or something somewhere. I got Paul out here with me. Silly dog. Let me find a piece of wood while I'm talking to you. Give me just a second here. Come on, where's the wood? You doing, Pawpaw? Silly dog. You know what? I'm just going to use this wooden brush. Good enough for what I'm doing here. I just don't want to putting pressure on this cable in the back here. So we're just turning it upside down like this. So here's what we got. I got 2 screws. I don't know what that's gonna undo. I'm just gonna take it off. I guess I'll just go for it. Undo this. Undo these 2 screws. This here goes to this piece here, and we're just gonna have an adventure, I guess. There's nothing really attached to this part that I need to worry about. So, and it's just a cheap machine, you know, no biggie. Let me find me a wrench here, socket or something. Here's this. Yep, and I'm just gonna, can't really get it on the direction you need to go, so it's probably, I'm assuming, all metric. There you go. Okay. So we're just gonna look deep dive, see what we got here. I'll put this all. You always want to kind of keep the fasteners together when you take stuff like this apart. You see it moves around. Probably glue that up too while I'm doing all this. I just can't, for the life of me, enjoy using this machine. And it's a cheapie. I've been kind of talking to a friend of mine, Mike, door locks, tips and tricks. I want to do automotive. I want to get into automotive stuff, but I can't because I don't have the capability to run I can't even duplicate keys because this doesn't do it. Now, there are some keys you can do with, you know, the framing, and there's some keys you can do with the HPC. I don't know how in depth it goes. More than I want to deal with. So let's see here. So that's that. Alright, so here's what we got. I just dropped the spacer out of here. Let's see what we got here. I don't know exactly where that came out of. I'll have to look. Probably. Yep. Here's where you get into. Okay. I'll have to look back at my own video and see exactly what went where. So here's your Gibbs. So I can probably tighten these up. Let me see here. Don't quite know where this went. And it's threaded, so there's threads in there, so I'll have to, I'm sure it was part of this right here. Okay, yep. So that went right here, and that slid for this piece here. So, okay. So I'm just going to put that together with that. And that allows you to do that. So there's not hardly any directions on these things. So that's the slop I had to get out of there. I don't really know. Boy, that greased the dickens out of it, but it's like that. Let me see what kind of grease we got here. It's not a bad grease. Yeah. So you want to, you know, if it's not like Cosmoline type of grease, Cosmoline as in the type of stuff they coat something to keep from rusting, I can probably use my own super lube grease. I don't know if I got any in here. I think I do. Give me a second here. Try not to move the camera around too much because I know I'm bad about that stuff. So give me a second here. I know I got some more of this super lube. It'd be nice to get this to where I can actually use it. Not much left. I like this super lube. It's pretty good stuff. So we're gonna see what we got here. So that moves around. So what moves so much? It could be. So you got the Gibbs here, and I say Gibbs. It's a slide. I'm not sure. I mean, I could take all the way apart and clean it, but it could have. Sometimes they have roller bearings in them, and so you can tighten these, loosen them, tighten them. Don't know where the slop is. It feels like it's more in this part here than this part, because this here is permanently mounted. So maybe I just go on ahead and put it back together. I'm going to wipe this down. Let me rub some grease in there. I think I'll put it back together. I don't want any bearings to fall out. I mean, let's take a look here. Maybe I can do something. What are you doing, Paul? Alright, here, so here's where we're at. Let me see if I can adjust my flashlight. You want a haze right there. So let's see what happens. You really hate to take too much apart. We're just going to go on ahead. What you need to do is screws right here that hold the whole thing together in this. See how that's sloppy like that? So that's what you don't want. So I don't know if I want to take this whole thing apart. Let's screw it. Let's just do it. Let's just see what it looks like. Could be bearings fall out, but I'll just use grease to hold them in place until I get them back in. So let's just do this. Have a little fun. It's not like this was that expensive machine. I got it pretty cheap. So take these all the way out. I'm hoping you're seeing everything. So that goes all the way in. What you doing, Paul? Yeah, but I left my inverter on, so I'm out here with the dog. Hopefully he's not too uncomfortable. They don't really let you take it off that easy. It actually slides pretty good. I mean, considering, I don't know if this whole thing, this whole block should pop out. Let me see if I can gently persuade it. It might be bolted down through the top on here. And these can be like a puzzle. That is definitely. Let me see if I can use this flashlight. Look here. Yeah, there's bolts. Either bolts or pins. I imagine those are bolts. Go to the top table. So, you know what I'm seeing here? I probably need to start at the top and start taking it all apart. I bet these caps here reveal the screws that hold this top table on. So this is going to be an adventure. So let me, before I get too far ahead, I'm going to put some stuff back just so. And I don't even know if I need to go all the way through this. But that is loose. I don't think, you do need to be able to adjust this, so it's probably fine. So the top bolts hold it in place so it doesn't fall out. And then the ones up there with the cap, and these hold the slide themselves. I know it's not really locksmith related. There are some locksmiths that do charge a little money to go out and work on people's stuff. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pack some grease in here. Let me see if I got enough in here to do this. Get some grease through here. Normally you wouldn't want to mix. This is not going to hurt this. I could just blast it with some stuff, but I don't think I need to do that. Yeah, see, you get too loose and BBs start coming out. That's what's happening right now. So let me get these BBs back in there. Yeah. And you don't want to, there's another one I gotta. So, you know, Paul? Yeah, so let's tighten that back up. I don't want them too loose. We're going to start losing BBs. We'll tighten this back up so the BBs are trapped. I say BBs, they're bearings, what they are. Okay. Make sure you get this all in the shot. Paul. And maybe I just have to slowly, so I can feel that. probably is. Maybe that's what I need to do. I just need to slowly tighten things up so I don't have the movement. Now if you go too tight, you're going to wear them out. You're going to wear them out really quick. Alright, so we'll just leave it like that. I mean, ideally you'd want to tear the whole thing apart and clean the bearings, you know, the BBs and all that stuff, but we don't really need to do that. Not what I'm doing. I just kind of need to do enough exploratory surgery to see what we're dealing with here. So this here, I want to make sure we're flush with the bottom here and flush with the bottom there. Make it slide easier. Maybe I'll have to adjust it on the other side. Somebody wander around up front there. Okay, let's see. Alright, so that's that. So I think I kind of figured out what I need to know for what I'm doing right now. I think it actually does feel better right there. And I think the slop maybe in the top piece, so let me kind of put it back together. Now that I kind of know what's going on underneath, we can kind of see if we can adjust that. The surface itself is pretty decent right there. I mean, there's a little paint on it, but picking up junk. You silly. This is not my normal kind of video, but if you're like me and you gotta do some exploratory surgery, it doesn't hurt to know how this stuff works. I don't know if I'm gonna go through and tear it all completely apart. Yeah, Paul. Here's something. I kind of figured this was going to happen like this. Hi. Let's see what's stuff going on out there. Nah, just neighbors doing neighbor stuff. Alright, so now we're going to battle with this. Part of the fun. If I have to, I can pull this piece off. Do this. There's another way to do this. Put that up on top of the screw so it sticks up higher. At least to get it started. This is something you really should never have to or need to do. In my situation, I just kind of felt like I wanted to do some exploratory surgery. Sometimes I record stuff for my own amusement, just to see where that part flew off and went. I'm going to put that right there. Hopefully I can. Yeah, it didn't work. So, you know what we can do? We will get a piece of something put in there. Let me see if this will work. Something that's not going to mess anything. I can put it behind it. What are you doing, Paul? I just need to stick up far enough to where I can get that bolt started. And I can fish that piece of rubber glove out of there as soon as it's convenient. close. And then a little bit further in. Get right on there. Get on there, buddy. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I had to add some of this stuff out. You just sit there and watch me push this through. She is not liking that. So it's possible. Flip that over. Maybe one side's better for threading in than the other. Wonder. Well, it should be. Pretty sure that's how it was as far as the track on here. Yeah, I'll definitely edit this out so I have to watch the whole thing. There's always something, you know. The spring, the clip, the darn nut that won't stay in. Probably better to use cardboard. I don't know if I'm gonna get away with this or not. That looks pretty good right there. Let me see if that'll work. Got it. Whew. Alright, so come over here, and I gotta line my holes up. Okay. Alright, we're getting there. Bear with me. Well, I think now that we kind of know how it goes, so what I'm doing back here is I gotta get these holes lined up. It's kind of sloppy. Not a great fit either. Get one started before I tighten it down. I'll get the other one started. I'm going to push it down so it's hopefully it's even. Even on each side. Oh man, it kind of sucks not having my battery good in here. A little sweaty. Sorry, Paul. Following a couple new channels. Landry Locksmith, I'm not sure what his channel is. He does a lot of automotive and some home stuff. Of course, I've always followed SC Lock and Key, Pocket Woman. There's a whole bunch of them I follow. Get this pretty snug here. Okay. So that's that. That's. Still need to do this part here. We're just about done, Paul. Poor guy. Slanging keys. I think there's another one I'm following. M&M Lock. I think he's out of Washington. Lock Brothers. I think it's another one I'm following. I started following them, but then they started doing all this cat stuff, which I mean, I like cats too, but when you subscribe to the channel for lock content and then they're posting all this goofy stuff that's kind of not related, it's kind of irritating. Okay, so that actually firmed it up a little bit. Alright, so let's see what happens if I so let me see here. Still something moving. It's too tight. That is almost like it's a different problem altogether, doesn't it? So we'll just go on ahead, and you don't want to over tighten them. See, that is just a lot of slop. I mean, I've found kind of snug. I'm sorry, Paul. I'll go in here in a minute. He's actually a Phoenix dog. Paul is. I'm gonna need a little special wrench to get in here. Feels like it's in this, and then maybe I need to pop these caps off. Like that. Probably should have done this to begin with. Let me see. That's just way too much. Let me tighten these up, just make sure I'm not like... Yeah, it's in here, definitely. So I may need to pull these jaws off. Alright. I'll continue. Let me, I'm going to take the dog in. It's kind of hot, and I got to get ready for a job I'm going to go do. So I'll resume as soon as I get back. Thanks for watching up to this point. Alright, I'm back. I'm going to try to see what else I can find in this. So there's 2 screws here and 1 screw here that can allow you to facilitate taking this apart. I'm not sure what all we got back here. Looks like guide pins. So I think what's going on is the jaws itself is loose. You can see that movement. It feels like it's underneath here. And I think the way those gibs are, you can adjust the gibs, but then you got to be able to lock them down. And I can't lock down the back side of this because the screw's right there, and I think the other one's underneath the jaws. So I'm going to take the jaws off. Not really an easy way to do these jaws. If you kind of notice, there's just 3 bolts or screws, and let me go ahead and get those taken apart and we'll see what happens. I'll put it back on here in a second. Okay, we're at this spot here. Excuse me. Pull the jaws off. Not a whole lot on either. One thing I'm going to say is probably should scribe this, but I'm going to use a square to square it up to the edge here. And then you can see the movement. Let me hold this still. See how much it moves? Feels like it's moving separately from this, so I'm going to go on ahead and undo these 4 screws, and we're going to see what's going on underneath this. Not a big deal. I wasn't using this machine anyway, so it's a total loss if I get too deep, and it may just be a sloppy machine for all we know. That's way nicer there. So definitely want to adjust those gibs. Okay, there we go. I got that off. Perfect. So we'll have to double check what amount of BBs we got on each side. I'll put those BBs over here for now. Ideally, I would think you'd want more BBs than that. Perfect. This will give me a chance to clean all that grease out. That's not the kind of grease I really want in there. Alright, so this plate here, I'm sure is moving. Yeah, screws are loose. Yeah, a little loose. It doesn't help. You know what? I ought to just go ahead and remove these screws. Go find some that are actually cap screws, grade 8. That's what I'll do. Probably. Let me loosen these gibs up. Give me a way to. Should I tighten that up yet? Yeah, they're kind of loose. Be better to get an Allen wrench type screw. Excuse me. Shazbot. Alright, so I'm going to get some more of these here. But I'm going to get them as cap screws with, you know, or an Allen wrench will work in them. This is kind of irritating. Trying to do that with a screwdriver and you're on that angle. I'm going to do all these. Pull these out. Maybe I ought to do it. So let me get this over here. That was like that. It's on top of that. Like that. So what you'll see here, I think I got a magnet here to stick. From the top, some of these screws are slotted. That's to your vise. Sorry. Some of these screws are slotted. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 bearings, ball bearings on that side. And that looks to be the same there. 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 7 bearings on each end. And so we were going to clean up all this grease. We're going to get this plate off here. In fact, I may even just go on ahead and go all out and let's just see what happens. I'm going to pull these out anyways. On all new cap screws. I'm just going to put down how many I want. I don't want screwdriver cap screws in here. So, how's that? Another handful of each. And maybe I'll get some BBs and see if I can find more of them. I personally think you should have more bearings in there. But imagine the amount of bearings you have will allow it to put too much in there, it'll wind up messing you up. Because then you won't have as much travel. I'm going to put that in the bottom. I'll go to the Henry Ford hardware store, figure out what size. They don't have the what I'm going to need. What I will do is take these out. We're just going to do it. So some of these are slotted. The slotted ones are for your gibs. And that's fine. Now I'm going to pull the whole thing apart. It's fine if it's for the gibs, because what's going to happen is loosen that up so it'll stay in there. The gibs are just in place. Excuse moi. So when you tighten, you adjust your gib to where it's nice and snug, not too tight, not too loose. You don't want any slop. But then you got to tighten the top portion, because that locks it in place so it doesn't move. Because that is also part of the slop, because the top of that plate, what happens is it's when you have that loose, it's able to teeter like that. So you really want that snug too. So we're going to pull all this off. Do a total rebuild, whatever. So 7 bearings on the top. I've got one for measurements. I get some better quality. Might even sand these. Be nice. I could probably find some slides that would actually work. This. Alright, so here we're back to this part here. Alright, so alright. Leave that there. I'm just gonna put this right here. Alright, so we're here. All these are loose. Let me see how many we got here. I'm counting them just so we know. There's one right there, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 on that side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 10 on this side. They don't really look like very good quality bearings. So what I will do with that bearing I have is I will go on ahead and measure them up. Take one from this side too, just have it. Measure them up, and then I will, maybe I'll order some nicer ones on Amazon. Order some nicer ones on Amazon. I'll have it all ready to go. We're going to do this. We're going to do it right. Make it more precise. Make it roll better. Probably use some wet sandpaper, like a 1000 grit in there. And it's important, however much you take on one side, you need to take the same amount on the other side. Or at least across. I do have a sharpening stone with the knife side, and that's a good, because it's square, it's straight. You don't have to worry about overdoing it on one side or the other. So we will go on ahead and do that. So that's how that goes. And it's supposed to have a channel. So there's a stop right here. It's supposed to keep the BBs from coming out on each end. I don't know if you can see that very well. Stop there and a stop there. So we will clean this track up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, so 10, 9, 1. Yep, we'll do it right. We're going to do it, and then I like this grease, but I may use a different one. Super glue is a good grease, but I don't know what the lid is to that. So that's where I'm at on that. So we'll, down here. I honestly didn't know I was going to get this far into this, and it is fine. Do it right. Be more precise. Yeah, there's a track right there. See if I can. Yeah, so there is a removable track right there. It's actually got a groove in it, and that makes the bearings stay centered on it. So that is on that. So we will. Let's do this. Alrighty. Well, that's where we're at for today. I gotta go to work. My shift at the Ford plant, and then I usually put these windows up. I need regular curtains. I put those up in case there's anybody that's wandering around and they're looking through vehicles. Happens a lot in our neighborhood. I've not had anyone break into this neighborhood yet or into my stuff yet, but okay, so this goes on this. That's your stop for tubular locks. Move that out of the way. Drops right down through there. Okay, well, that's where we're at today. Sorry I'm not getting further. I'll probably edit some of this so we're not too far out there on all the different stuff. Okay, alright, thanks for watching. Well, Bob here, back again. Kinda see if I can get everything in the shot here. Oh, I went to our local Locksmith Association swap meet and picked up this. Actually, the guy just gave it to me free. He said he's emotionally uninvested in it anymore. It's an X6 automated key machine. Now, I'm just gonna say it's probably a piece of junk. And I offered to give him, you know, he's like, you know, I'll sell it to you for $1. And then I was like, I'll give you 10, 20 bucks. I mean, it's not to play with. And he's like, dude, he goes, I don't even want $1, just take it. He goes, I don't even want to carry it out of here. And so is that the swap meet was at the Independence Center mall there outside of Kansas City, Independence, Missouri. And there was a whole bunch of machines. That same guy, he had probably, I don't know, probably close to a dozen pack-a-punches he was selling. His name is, I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but Horseshoe Lock and Key was his business. And I don't know if I got a card. Oh, yeah. I don't have the card on me. I'll try to put it somewhere in the screen. But anyways, he's selling pack-a-punches. He had a whole bunch of best combinating equipment, like some of the original combinating equipment, you know, from 1959 and up. Anyways, so enough of that. I'll see if I can post a thing on that. NS or na.sp.org. Okay, let me see. na-sp.org is the website for our association. We have some locksmiths that are retiring. I wanted something to get me into being able to do, you know, chip keys, this type of stuff. And actually, this is a bad key, but I want to be able to do this kind of stuff. And I don't have that capability. I mean, I can with this, but this is a duplicator. And so, and this is rough, you know, this is probably not going to ever work for what I want to do. But, I mean, you look online, you'll see people with this same machine. Anyway, so I decoded the hardware. The smaller ones, for like the Gibbs, those are, let me see, 4mm or M4-.70. The bigger ones are, can you remind me, M5-80.80 millimeter. Anyway, so if you need any hardware, and so I bought a bunch. Actually, I just bought a whole bunch of different ones. And I went with button head. Now I'm doing the Allen wrench. I don't want to do the screwdriver. Plus, these are grade 8. The screws were probably grade 5. These are grade 8, and these are probably going to have to be cut down. And I bought some bearings. So I was able to measure these the bearings, and they are basically a .188 or .1875. So that'd be a 3/16, and that's what those are. So 7 on each side on one, and 10 on each side on the other. So the larger gib takes 10. And for $7, I got 200. So $7. And it was weird is if you want 100 of them, it was like twice the price. So it's like, okay, because I'm gonna wind up with a bunch of extra BBs. These are 3/16. The millimeters 4.765. Anyways, and it's bearing still. I'm sure the Chinese ones are junkier, you know, probably not as hard. So with bearings and a lot of hardened steels, you go off, there's different ways we measure hardness. Rockwell hardness is more what I'm more accustomed to. These are like a 65 to 75 Rockwell hardness, which is better for a bearing. And I'm sure the Chinese ones are a lot softer. And so with Rockwell, I don't have a way to measure the Rockwell hardness on these, but normally they have a machine, and I think if I remember right, the one I seen was a spring punch. And you, like say if you do like a center punch, you push down, and when it snaps and does its little dimple, you measure the size of that dimple, and the hardness would show you the smaller the dimple, the harder it is. And sometimes, you know, if it's real hard, you barely even scratch it, and that'd be really hard. But, you know, in the machining trades, you use a file, and you kind of file something, and if it just slides right off, you know, it's pretty hard stuff. And if it, you know, if the file left a mark, then you're getting softer. So, anyways, that's how I've always been able to tell. While I was at that swap meet, also, I bought this from, Josh was saying it's Key City Locksmith. Maybe I'll put his link up here. He's head of our chapter right now. We do elections. I mean, he got it, and he wanted it. This is a 3D printed, it's a A2 format, SFIC, and what happens is if you want it to lock in, if you're accommodating a bunch of SFIC, if you wanted to lock it in, I don't even have something on there to do that. Anyways, you'd slip it in and use your core mover key on one way. Otherwise, if you just want to slip it in, and out. Whenever you want, you put it in the other way, and so that way you don't need a key to pull it in and out, and that's unlocked in. And if you wanted to lock into this, and you can actually stack these, he sells these. There's a whole bunch of them. He sells them, and so he does have a YouTube channel. He doesn't really put a lot of this stuff on there. I'm kind of surprised. He's pretty heavy about advertising and stuff, but he doesn't really have much of a YouTube channel other than just, you know, for his local advertisement for his business. But he doesn't really do a big YouTube channel for lock sport or locksmithing or whatever. Alright, so I don't know if I'm going to splice up these videos, how I'm going to do this. I'm not going to really do much about that because it's a piece of junk, and I'm sure it didn't come with any of the setup hardware, you know, the calibration key blanks. Doesn't have it has the end mill right there. It doesn't have the what do you say, the stylus. It should be a 1mm stylus, and this is a 2mm end mill. But I know it works. The guy said it works, and it has the adapter and everything. So, and I think it's 12 volt. So you can actually run it. They say from what, if you look on YouTube, they run pretty good on 12 volt, and it's pretty rudimentary. Now there is a guy out there. All the videos I found were pretty old, and like, you know, 6, 7, up to 10 years old. The guy has it where he shows you how you can set up a quick set, a Schlag, or a different, you know, more residential, commercial keyways into this, to where you can cut them on here. But we're getting ahead of myself on this, so I'll fool around with this stuff later. But anyways, back to this. So my plan right now is I'm going to clean these. I'm not going to take you along with this. Here, there's set screws in here. I'm going to clean all this old grease off here. I need to mark everything so I know exactly the orientation everything went. So anyways, that's what I'm going to do now. I will go on ahead and clean this up. I'm sure these are pretty soft material. Let me see. I don't even have a file over here. I have a little file. I can run a file across and see how hard it is. I'm not going to hurt anything right here. Yeah, it's pretty soft. So the bearings are going to be harder than this material. Anyway, so I will clean these up, and it's got a track in there on each side, and kind of what keeps the bearing rolling on the surface. Instead of having a radius channel, what they did was they run a track inside there. Let's see if I can do a light on this. They run a track inside here to kind of give the bearings more of a radius track to run on, instead of running the bearing on a flat surface. And it's also on the other side. They got them right there. Anyways, so I'm going to clean these all up, and then I'm going to swap out these screws for the hardened screws, and I'm getting rid of the screwdriver, you know, Phillips. I want to do an Allen wrench, and then on all of them. And so that's that. That's where I'm at. So that's what I've got going on. And this is the other track I need to do something with, and it's locked in there. So this just rides on that. Yeah, right there. Okay, so I'll get back with you. Let me get all this stuff cleaned up, and then I'll get back with you. Alright, thanks for watching this far into it anyways. I'm sorry. Alright, so here's where we're at. These tracks actually are just metal rods that go inside here. There's two up top, two in the bottom. And the bearings will kind of is what makes them separate, but the rods are hardened, and there's two on each track, there and there, you know, two on this side, two on that side, two on this side, two on this side. And the profile wise, the thinner goes on the bottom and the thicker goes on the top, because what that does, that raises it up, the way it centers it up. You want the slides to be higher than this, otherwise they'll rub together when the top plate is on there. But that's where I'm at so far. I'm going to go on ahead and keep trying to put this stuff together. Nothing really complicated. You just got to make sure the different lengths rods are in the right spots. Most of them are there. As long as they go between the I don't know if it's a set screw or just a dry rope end driven in there. But you know, you just want to make sure that your rods fit in between them. You know, and that there's no gap towards the end. That's why there are some shorter ones right here, which won't work, and where it would require a longer one. So I'm just going to use all the longer ones, and then that's all I have left of the short one. So that's where I'm at. Let me finish cleaning up and try to start putting it back together. Alright, be back in a minute. Well, I got her back together. I'm just going to say at the end of the day, it's just a cheap Chinese machine. It is a lot more solid than it was. I mean, a lot more responsive. Let me see if I can get close up here. Before, it's like you could see it moving. It's not moving now. It's tight. What you do see moving is the whole machine on the rubber mat, but the whole flex itself doesn't feel like it's... This is all good. I think this is all tighter than it was. I could probably tighten the gips up just a little bit. I don't really see it moving. You see it moving, but it's actually the whole machine that's moving. This stuff here is solid though. So I think that fixed that problem I was having with being too sloppy. It's way tighter. So you don't want to over tighten the gips here. So I probably got them a little too tight. And this here's a stop, so you can lock that so it doesn't move too much. I'm not gonna go all that on right now, but you can kind of always just leave it loose. I'll see if I can find some key blanks. I don't actually have any automotive keys. I do have a couple of keys. These, I think these 4s. 4 transponders, so 7. Okay, I might be able to make some keys, but let me deal with a couple other things first, and then we will see. It does feel way tighter than it did before. There is still a little movement, but it's not much. I think the way these work, the stylus is supposed to guide it. But it's not like it's going independently, you know, any movement. It's once you lock them in, it should be tighter. In fact, it's probably part of the problem I had the jaws loose. But once you lock it in, it's a lot more solid. So we'll see. I'll have to run some keys through it. We'll see what it does. Okay. Yep. Either I'll end the video here, or I'll find some keys to make it work. So I'll see what I do. If it's still going, the video, then obviously got some keys still in there to do. I tried to use the newer screws, but I had to cut them all down. So I'm going to take one out at a time, and then I'll lengthen the rest of them to get rid of these Phillips. I don't like these Phillips. It's hard to get them nice and tight in here. That is probably part of the other problem. So I will redo those and get rid of the Phillips screws. So, alright, thanks for watching. Well, okay, I'm back. So it looks like a pretty good success to me as far as let me see if I can get a better lighting here. Actually, this thing is solid now. It's a lot more solid than it was. I mean, I can it's not moving at all. I'm trying to shake it. The jaws are kind of loose as far as the the grip, but I mean it moves smooth now, a lot smoother. So I'm going to say it was a success. And there's I don't know how much travel I have on this. I'll have to play with it. There it goes. I may have to loosen up just a hair, but it does get all the travel I need as far as how to do that. Now my problem is I don't have a key that I can cut on this. I mean, I have a couple of these HU 101s. They're just a Ford non-transponder keys. I guess you can put a transponder in them, but I don't have transponders for them. I have some of these, but I don't have a key actually that I need to duplicate. Not that I want to waste with that. I am going to say this was a success. As far as any of these machines goes, it's a lot more responsive, not as jerky. There's no slop. I got all the slop tightened out of it. The bearings I used were 3/16 ball bearing grade steel, and like $7 for 200 of them on Amazon. FNG, I think, is the name of the company, if I remember. Let me see here. I actually saved the thing. I would know, but it's like it's been a few days since I did the last video. FKG is it's a UK bearing. So that's that. I got a whole bunch left over. I hardly used any of them. So let me lock this up real quick. So I mean, I'm just gonna say, cheap Chinese machine. That was probably a success. Doing what I did. As far as I don't know what's going on with this. That's my other thing. I need to roll away. Put in here. Anyways, so I would cut a regular side cut key, like a KW1 or SC1 on here, but I have the blocks that mount into this, and then you can do that with that. But I don't even have. I'm not sure where the blocks are. They're hidden somewhere because I haven't used this machine in so long. I mean, I've only used it maybe 3 or 4 times, and last time I think I tried to do tubular keys, which it does work for that. I just it's not something I wouldn't use this for myself. I have a hurdy-gurdy, so, but I have used this for a tubular. It didn't work because it's too sloppy, but I think the slop's gone. That fixed the slop. That thing is solid. There's no movement in that. So I'm gonna say that's probably it's good. Now I don't know squareness wise, if it's square, as far as where everything is. It looks like it is. It's when you start trying to figure out where the things rest, because when you have the blocks taken apart, you really got to be careful, because some of those things try not to move the camera too much. Let me see what I'm looking at here. So you want to make sure that you're square. I think I'm pretty square. I'm just trying to line up that stylus with the, so that goes in. It's square on both sides. They're both going in, so right in the right spot. So I believe it's good. I was able to square it up pretty good. Just trying to line the holes back up, and the way the shoulder is, it kind of helps square it up too. So okay, that's all I got on this XCan Defu. There's different versions of it. This is a 998C. The difference is because you have the micrometer head here, so you can adjust that. If you can see that, a lot of them don't have that, so you can do a micro adjustment with this, as opposed to having to loosen up the set screw and move your stuff around. I think the next thing I'm going to be doing is messing with this thing here, this X6 machine. As far as I can tell, it's probably junk, but it ain't gonna hurt to play with it. I know if you look on YouTube, they have videos where they're cutting car keys with it. There's a way you can pull this out, and I think there's a set screw in the back there. Pull that whole thing out, and there's a SD card in there, and you can hook that up to your computer, and you can look at the profiles for the different keys they have on there. And I suppose that you can add Quickset, Schleg, Yale, all those different ones. Anything you can clamp into the clamp, and there's probably different ways you can set up the clamp. I just don't know enough about it to zero it in or to do anything yet. I'm still doing some research. I've tried to reach out to the company that, the suppliers that sell it, and it's kind of hard to get any information. It'd be nice to have an actual PDF manual. I've not found that. I've done a lot of searches, and there's a lot of channels where they have done their own research and stuff, but there's not an actual, no one's actually uploaded a manual that came with this machine that I can find. So that's that. And I also wanted to mention, if you're like me, I don't have air conditioning in my step van. So let me turn this around here, get a better view of what I'm going to show. I think I've already talked about this in a different video. This is a little belt clip fan. It has 6 speeds. There's different versions, different brands. It has a lithium battery. You can plug it in to recharge it. And what it does is it's just a fan. You can just hooks on your belt clip, and then your shirt can hook on the other side, on the outside, so it doesn't get sucked up into the intake. And then you just set it up to cool you. Let me see if I can set it up right here. So, for example, on me right here, there's 6 different settings. So, so yeah, you just hook it up on the belt clip. Otherwise, you have it down like this, it gets sucked up in the intake. So, use that belt clip right there, and it blows right up inside your shirt. Or you can just set it up on the desk, like this. Set it up on your fancy little pinning thing right here, if you want. Which I'm not able to bend it without both hands. But I mean, you know, you can set up however you want in your shop. Just sit in there and have some way to blow air in yourself. Kind of nice. But has 6 speeds, and I mean, it gets to rock and rolling. Here's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not very loud. I mean, loud enough to, if you're sitting in here, but you're getting air out of it, so it feels pretty good. So, anyways, one more thing. Just wanted to show, and I don't even know what the brand is. Rechargeable portable fan. There's a million versions of them out there. This actually is pretty nice. I've used it on a couple jobs now, and I'm happy with it. And if you're in a really hot spot, you know, one in the front belt loop and one in the back, and just tuck it in your shirt and then have at it. But it doesn't take that long to recharge either. So, alright, well, that's all I got. Just wanted to kind of do a wrap of this machine, and then threw in this, mentioned that. That's all I got for this video. I have some other videos that I'm having a hard time blurring out faces, so it's like it's taking a little bit longer. I actually uploaded them, but I can still see the customer's face enough that I don't feel comfortable. I don't think they want to be on YouTube like that, so I'm gonna try to blur them out a little bit better. But alrighty, thanks for watching. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye bye.